Hey guys, it's Turbine Doctor back at you. I know I haven't posted anything in a while, and anything worthwhile, a couple of tractor pulls and a rocket launch. I've been doing some work on reloading, especially for 38 special, trying to get some accuracy. Worked on, I've actually started casting my own bullets. Got a couple down here, cast 158 grain with gas checks. These haven't been sized or lubed. My first batch, not bad. I can work on it, learn a few things, get a little bit better. Here's some that I've sized and lubed and put the gas checks on. These are what I'm working with now. Now that they've been sized and lubed with gas check installed, they're running 168, 169 grains, somewhere in there. I haven't weighed them all out yet, but for the purpose of what I'm doing today, I did weigh and get them some that are consistent. They're about 168 grains, plus or minus a tenth. So what I'm doing is trying to find out what's going to be fairly accurate. I've loaded some with some old IMR 4227 powder, which fills the case up pretty good. And I was using Winchester Magnum primers. I didn't capture any of this on video. I just now decided to bring you up to speed. And it was shooting dirty, very, very dirty. Matter of fact, it looked like I had a fur-lined barrel when I looked down there. It was all sooty in there, and the powder would actually come out of my hand when I ejected the shells. So I started backing the load down. I started out at 11 grains. Accuracy was okay, could be better. So I backed it down to 10.5. Accuracy got better. Unburnt powder maybe dropped a little. Dropped her down to 10 grains. Accuracy got even better. Unburnt powder maybe changed a little bit more. Then I dropped it down to 9.5 grains. Accuracy was pretty good then. Unburnt powder dropped a little bit, still a little on the dirty side. So I've got some CCI Mini. I've got some CCI 550 Magnum primers. I'm going to try them, see if they'll get a little hotter, help burn that powder up a little bit more. If need be, if the accuracy is good enough, I can deal with the unburnt powder. I'd like to have it cleaner, but yeah, it is what it is. So that's what we're going to do today. In the process of playing around with this, I discovered something. My habit was to trim all my brass to the said length, and the trim to length for the 38 special according to the RCBS manual is 1.145 inches. So I would trim my brass to 1.145, then I would size it, then I would bell mouth it, then I would put the primer in, load it with powder, put a bullet in it, and go shoot them. In the process of loading these up, I had worked up some more brass. What I had found was I actually went back and measured some of the old brass, some of the other brass I had done, and there were inconsistencies in the lengths after I had trimmed them and sized them. They were anywhere from 147 to 151 inches, 1.157. Trying to figure out where that came from, I then decided to take fired brass and I would size it. And I measured it before I sized it and after I sized it, and they would grow anywhere from 4/1000 of an inch to 7/1000 of an inch in length just by sizing it. Now they weren't trimmed at the time. I measured each one before I sized it, then measured it again, and that's where I was getting anywhere from 4 to 7/1000 of an inch growth. So that being said, I decided, well, I'm going to start sizing them and then trimming them. So that's what I did, and they all came out consistent. Of course, after they're sized, nothing else worked on them. You trim them to length and they're all even 145, 1 inch, 145. The reason why that is important with these bullets is crimping. You want your crimps to be in the crimp groove, which I know you can't see it very well. It's right up here on the very top. And you want them even in there. You don't have a whole lot of room in there, but you want them all the same spot, even crimping across them. So if you're dealing with one case that's 7/7 longer than another one, what you run into is one could actually be up onto the shoulder or could be down onto the bottom land, but not definitely right in the center where you want it. So you want all your cases the same length when you go to seat your bullets. That way you get good even crimps. You don't have one crimp tighter than the other one. So crimping is important. So we're going to try that now and see how that works. Also I found I bought mixed brass, range brass, and there's a Gila, if that's how you pronounce it, PMC, Remington Pacific, or Remington Peters, I'm sorry, RP, Federal, Blazer, you name it. There's like 7 different manufacturers in there. So I took the time and I got 6 of each variety, or pretty much each variety that I had, and I put them on my neck case indicator over there, and I measured the neck thickness in about 8 places around, and I was looking to see how they were running. Most of them I was getting anywhere from 9 to 11 thousandths inch thickness on one case. That means you take an empty one, you measure it here, you might get 9, rotate a little bit, 9, then you might go 10, 10 and a half, 11. That's a lot of variation from in the case neck right there. So it could be a little tighter on one side, a little weaker on the other side. So I went with the ones that were most consistent, and these were ranging anywhere from 10 to 11. 1 thousandths run out. That's run out, or thickness difference. That's better than 2 thousandths. So I sorted them out, found out that Federal and R&P were the best of what I have. Now, this is not saying their brass is any better, but of what I had to choose from at the time, these seem to be more consistent. And consistency is the key to accuracy. Okay. So I got 5 Federal, 5 Remington, and I weighed all my bullets. I got them within plus or minus 1/10 of a grain. Got the same charge, 4227, 9.5 grains in each one, and CCI 550 primers, magnums on each one. So the only difference between these two now should be just the case. So I'm hoping that these will be as accurate as those are. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little paper out there, and I'm going to shoot, excuse me, I listed Federal first. I'm going to shoot my Federals first. This will be freehand, as accurate as I can, and trying to be as truthful with myself as I can. You have to be truthful with yourself when you're shooting for accuracy. Anybody can say, oh, it's the gun, it's the ammo. How many people actually tell you, I pulled that one, I made that mistake? That's when you get accurate. That's when you get better. When you are truthful with yourself and you tell yourself, I made that mistake, this is what I did, now I have to work on that. That's where your accuracy comes from. I can tell you that my gun is far more accurate than I am with factory loads. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to shoot the Federals first, see what kind of group they shoot, mark them with a pen, and then I'm going to shoot the Remingtons at the same target and leave them unmarked, and we'll see about how they do. So the gun I'll be using is the gun I recently purchased. It's a Smith & Wesson model 686 357 Magnum, stainless, 6-inch barrel. Bought this gun, got it fresh out of the box, put factory loads in it, and I was shooting a little bigger than quarter size groups at 25 yards with it. This gun can do it. It's getting the ammo in it and me being able to do it. My eyesight is nowhere near as good as it used to be, and it's getting worse every day, so we'll see. So let's get ready to head down to my little makeshift range and get ready to shoot some rounds and see what we can find out. Okay, I got y'all set up pretty close up here. I'm going to step back here to 15 yards, and I'll be shooting 5 rounds of Federal. Then I'll come down here mark the target, go back and shoot 5 rounds of Remington Peters. I think I pulled that one. Trying to be honest with myself, I'm not exactly sure, but I think I pulled that one. Alright, now I'll go load up the R&P, shoot them, see what that happens, see what that does. As far as dirt, I don't know how well that shows. If I wipe most of it off, but that's some of the unburnt powder left on my hand just from the shells. Alright, let's get up in here a little closer. See what's happening here. Sorry about that. Earthquake. For those of you in California, I guess you didn't find that funny at all, did you? Alright. I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not bad. Cover it up with your hand. I don't have anything to measure with, but I'd say that's 2-inch group maybe, freehand. For the competition I'm in, or getting ready to work in, shoot in, the Troy Ash down here in Exmoor, that's going to be doable there. I can work with that. I'm pretty sure I pulled that one, but I'm not 100%. Seeing how all the rest of them are up here, I'd say I pulled that one. Now I wanted to show you when I dump these. Let's see how well this shows up. Let me zoom out. Alright, that is zoomed out. Alright. Clean hand, pistol, flip them up, dump them. That one, that one, that one. Oh, that one had some in it. That one. That much. That's unburnt from just the shells. That's not bad. I can live with that. I don't know how well that shows up on camera, but a little closer. That's good. I can live with that. Yeah, no more. That's good. Take a look at the old chamber. Looks not bad. I can deal with that. Look down the barrel. Yeah, there's some unburnt powder in there. I can deal with that. That's not too bad. It's a lot better than the 11 grain was. That was pretty nasty. So it looks like 9.5 grains works real good. Next, something I was contemplating is the difference in the weight of the bullets. Those bullets had quite a range of variation. I said it was probably right up to 169. I never even found the upper end of it. It just pegged my little scale out. I'm going to do a test with 5 Remington at the low end that I can find, probably 159, and then 5 for the Federal, or it doesn't matter which one I do. It'd be 5 of the low ones, 5 of the higher ones I can find. Same primer, same powder, just to see what kind of difference it makes. Because obviously the brass doesn't make a difference, the manufacturer, but the brass was measured for neck thickness, and they were within 1,000. So around either 9 to 10 on one brand or 10 to 11 on the other. So, all right, let's head back to the shop and load the bench, see what's going on. Okay, we're back to the loading bench. And got my brass that we just shot. Got all that right there. We'll work through that again. 357s I usually keep loaded in my 686. I'm gonna load that back up now because I don't like being without my protection. Some of you guys are probably, oh no, don't do that. But practice safety on handling. You don't have to worry about it too much. Alright, what we're going to do next, and I'm going to do this off camera, I don't want to bore you with all the details. I've got 2 sets of scales. Got an old balance beam type. Came with my kit when I bought that 30 years ago. Don't want to tell my age, but I was 16 at the time. And then we got electronic scale. So far as accuracy, I prefer these. They are far more consistent in their accuracy. As far as speed, I like this one. If you can deal with a little range, little flip-flopping. These don't like wind. They don't like temperature change. They don't like vibrations. This is more tolerable. Has a magnetic dampening in there. More tolerable. This has a tendency to drift. You can power it up, leave it on for 30 minutes, let everything warm up like some people say. Calibrate it, go to full scale, go 0, 20, 50, 70, back to 0, double check, it's good. After about 5 minutes and some weights on there, it'll start drifting. 1/10 of a grain, another tenth, another tenth. You're halfway through a box of shells, 6 millimeter, and you're weighing each shell to the 1/10 of a grain. You get about 3/4 the way through there and you realize that the scales have shifted on you about 2/10 of a grain. Huge difference. No. If you're looking for accuracy, that could make a big difference. But so far as hunting, 200 yards, 6mm. If it drifts a 1/4 inch, no big deal. It's still going to drop like a rock. But for what I'm going to be doing with all these bullets, I'm going to be weighing. I'm not going to weigh all of them. There's probably about 500 in there. I'm not going to weigh all of them. I'm going to get try to break them up high, low, and try to get 5 of the lowest and then 5 of the highest, and then we'll come back and load them and shoot them again and see what the difference is. So off camera, I'm going to weigh a bunch of these and get back to you with the results. Plus, I'm going to have my air conditioner running. It's hot in here. You won't be able to hear anything anyhow. Okay guys, I just came up with a prime example of the drift on these scales. What I'm doing with these bullets is I've laid out paper and I've marked them starting at 166.5 and going in half grain intervals up to 172, which is the heaviest one I've found so far. And I'm laying them out to see which group they fall in. And I'm going 2/10 over or 2/10 under, so 166.7 would still fall into 165, but 166.8 would go up into the 168. So it's 2.5 grains, 2.5 tenths under or over in that range. That's the way I'm laying them out. Now I calibrated the scales, and when it's calibrated with the 20 gram weight, gram, not grain, with the 20 gram weight on there after it's calibrated, I have written down here from years ago, it comes up 308.6. I started weighing, I got this many done, and I threw my 20 gram weight back up there, and it's already drifted from 308.6 up to 309.1.2. That's half a grain drift. Maybe that's a lot to some, maybe that's nothing to some, but this is something I wanted you to be aware of with these scales. I'm going to recalibrate them and continue on. Okay guys, I've come to a point where I feel I want to stop. First off, with the scale, I calibrated again when I told you I would, and then I finished weighing all the rest of these, and now with the 20 gram weight on there, we're showing 309.0. It's a drift up of 4/10 of a grain from where it normally was. It seems to be as the temperature on it stabilizes, it seems to do a little bit better. So if you're going to use them, I'd recommend plugging them in a good 15-20 minutes beforehand, let everything warm up. Another thing I realized I had going on was it was warm here, so I turned the air conditioner on, and as the temperature was cooling down, it probably had some effect on this. So keep that in mind. And I did notice while the certain times when I was not standing directly in front of it to block the air, that the readings seemed to fluctuate a little bit. It didn't want to lock in. It would go like 0.5, 0.7, 0.5, 0.4, 0.7, somewhere in there. But when you block the wind from it, it does a lot better. So what we've come up with is I actually found a couple of them over here at 166. I'm sorry to get you up there. These were, I didn't have my paper. My paper starts out at 165. Hope that shows up. 165. So these actually came in at 166 even, or plus or minus 2.5 tenths of a grain. Then we go 167, 67.5, 68, 68.5, 69, 9.5, 70, 70.5, 71, 71.5, and 72. It's kind of unusual. It's kind of weird. I was just pulling them out of the box, random, not looking for anything particular. Just pulled them out, and it seems like sometimes this section right in here would be accumulating pretty quick, and you get one out here, and then all of a sudden it started pulling in this area over here, and maybe one or two out here, and then all of a sudden this area over here started running. So I did what I felt was a pretty good average. I wrote down all the results right here. Let's see how good that shows up. 166, I had 2 of them. Then you come on down to 168 and a half, I had 20. 169, I had 27. So there's the numbers for you. So at a total of 139 that I weighed. For all you mathematicians out there who want to do a bell curve or something on this, you can see pretty well where the weight seems to lie. Now these are with cast with the Lee 158 grain semi-wad cutter with gas check molds. Again, it was my first attempt at casting bullets. Some look good, some not so good. For those of you who have casting experience, you may already know that they're going to average like this, and it's really not that terrible. It's four grains difference from the low end to the high end, but the bulk of them seem to run in this range right here. As you can see, I brought a line straight down, started at the bottom, worked my way back up there, and this one actually came all the way back up, and this one looped up. So in the range of 168 to 169 and a half, that's where the bulk of them are running, and that's only 1.5 grain variation. So over the course of a whole box, I would have to say that they're going to be probably in this area right here. You have some low, some high, but for the testing I want to do, I want to check my lowest weight against a higher weight and see what the accuracy does. And I've got at least five of the 166.5, and over here on the upper end I've got at least 5 of the 170.5. so that is a 4 grain difference. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to load up 5 of the 166.5s and then 5 of the 170.5s and shoot them and see how their accuracy. And it's not so much accuracy, well, I am looking for accuracy, but mainly I'm looking for point of impact. And you saw when I was shooting this, the bullets I weighed the same powder, same primers. The only thing changed was the case themselves, and I don't really contribute a whole lot to that. They were all hitting pretty good. You saw that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have 2 targets. One of them is going to be for the 166.5. The other one's going to be for the 170.5. Or maybe I'll do them on the same target. Yeah, I think I will do them on the same target, just so you can see them together. And I'll mark them again like I did. And I'm thinking that the 170.5 will actually hit a little lower than the 166.5. But we'll wait and see. Stay tuned. Okay, we got 5 rounds loaded up into Federal cases, and in that we're using the 170.5 grain bullets that we weighed out. And then in the RP brass we have 5 loaded up with the 166.5. and we'll take them out there to the to my range and put up a new target, and we'll shoot the 5 RPs and the 5 Federals or 166 170s, and we'll see how they do. Okay, got you zoomed in here. Got a new target up there, got an old target to the left, so you can see as we're going along how things are looking. The first 5 I'm going to fire are the RP, which is the lighter grain bullet. Same powder charge we've been using, 9.5 grains. So I'll fire 5 of those, see what they do, I'll mark them, then I'll come back and fire the 5 Federals, which have the heavier weight bullet in them, and we'll leave them unmarked and we'll see how they do. Alright, well, I'm actually kind of impressed. I'll get you zoomed out here. Sorry about that brief little interruption. I had to turn my camera off or take it out of record mode so I could back it down off the zoom so you could see. Here's the old target right here, and this was I forgot, 168, somewhere in there. And here, wow, these are 166.5, and for the life of me I can't remember what it was. We'll get back to the bench and find out. But anyhow, there's a 166 there, there, and there, and then here, 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 and here is the 4 grain difference. So it'd be 170.5 right there, 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 and there. So that actually shot a little tighter group apparently than the 166.5 did. Now you may notice that those shots were fired a little bit more rapid than the previous ones. That's just me. I would hit the trigger right when I felt comfortable with it, and for some reason the second batch I just was able to hold it a lot steadier. I didn't have to wait quite as long to get the target right where I wanted it. That's why they were a lot faster. I was even wondering that myself. But the difference between 4 grains and a cast bullet is, in my opinion, not significant. If anything, the heavier bullets shoot a little tighter group, but then again, that could have been me. Like I said, I was struggling a little bit more with the other ones, trying to get my sight picture and everything steady where I wanted it. So for target shooting, cast bullets, I don't see where there's gonna be a whole lot of change between just loading them all up and shooting them, because I went from the lightest bullet I could find to the heaviest ones I could find, and they're all hitting right there. So put my hand up there if you want to see that. I don't know what else to gauge it. I'll give you a dollar bill up there. In case you want to measure, that's a dollar bill right there. So a dollar bill is like 6 inches, so maybe a 3-inch group, 2.5, 3-inch group. So I'm very happy with that, and I feel comfortable with the 9.5 grains of 42-27. I do know that it does seem that the CCI Magnum primers have less burnt powder than the Winchester do, significantly. There is still some, but nowhere near as much. So I'm going to be shooting the CCI Magnum primers. Alright, that's all for now. Alright guys, just a couple of things in closing I wanted to touch on, just some random stuff. We covered the targets, and it is 170 versus 166. The group is very good. I actually have calipers right here. Let me measure them out for you real quick. And we'll go center to center, the widest spread I can find, and we're about 2.4 inches. I'll just stretch up to 2.5 even, so 2.5 inches. Group, that's not bad. That's freehand. That's me at 15 yards. I think I said it earlier, but I'll say it again. All these tests were done at 15 yards. The competition I'm going to be shooting in, the first range is 7.5 yards, then you move back to 15, and then you go back to 25. And I feel comfortable that if I can get that target right there at 15 yards, that I should be able, pull this out here, should be able to hit, I don't know how well that shows up, that at 15 yards. Let me see if I can, there we go. So see, you should be able to keep all those inside the 10 ring right here at 15 yards. Shouldn't have a problem with that. And that's where they count the X's, is inside that 10 ring. So if I can blow one big hole right there, 50 rounds between those 3 ranges, I should be good to go. Let me get this off of here. The other thing is shooting. Some people say you should shoot with 2 eyes open. Obviously with your dominant eye. I don't know what they call it, but I don't have a dominant eye. If I shoot with both eyes open, line it with my right eye, my left eye will eventually take over, and I'm looking down the side of the barrel, and then it comes back to my right eye. So I've tried shooting with my left eye, and it still goes back to my right eye. So it wanders between the two of them. Either rifle or pistol, scope, iron sights, it doesn't matter. So you close your left eye. I started out closing my left eye, and whenever you close one eye, the other eye has to fight to stay open. Naturally, both eyes want to go closed. So what I came up with, instead of messing up my glasses, I came up with just a little old piece of elastic off the top of one of my gym socks, and I put that over my glasses on the left eye, so I can keep my left eye open, but I can't see anything, and that forces my right eye to see everything, but it doesn't get stressed or strained, so my vision in my right eye doesn't deteriorate. I did this in the last competition I was in down there. Plus, you get a whole lot of guns shooting at one time, and it can be distracting. So what I did was I put earplugs in and then earmuffs over top of that, along with this, and the mental concept that somebody's got to be the last one shooting that volley, and it might as well be me. I was in the habit of not wanting to be the last one and trying to shoot real fast. So when I put the earplugs and the earmuffs on to quieten things down, put this patch over my left eye, keep my right eye open, and not stress it, and then had the mental mindset that if somebody's got to be the last one squeezing off a round, they got to wait for somebody to shoot that last round. It's going to be me. So I went down there, not last year, I wasn't shooting last year, I shot the year before, and with that in mind, I brought home 2 trophies. I brought home first place in civilian, and then I brought home the Campbell Cup trophy. So I took the 2 top place trophies which were there, and that was with someone else's gun that I borrowed. That was a Colt Python, I think it was. This year I decided, I outshot him with his own gun, so he's not going to let me shoot that anymore. So I had to go out and buy this Smith & Wesson 686, and it's real good. I feel comfortable with it. It's just up to me getting in the right mental mind and shooting my game and practice, and I think I'll be able to handle this. So again, these are just practice loads for me getting used to the gun, my sight picture, my trigger pull. Of course, during the competition you have to use factory loads, you can't use reloads. So what I've settled on for my practice loads is going to be the IMR, and that is an old can there. IMR 4227 and CCI small pistol Magnum primers with 9.5 grains of the 4227. I hope someone out there finds some benefit out of this. If not, oh well. Thanks again, and hopefully I get some more videos up of shooting or reloading, or I do have a couple more tillers to work on. But till then, we'll see you later. Okay, I know you probably thought that was the end of this video, but I ran across one more thing I want to share with you, and this just goes for reloading in general, loading, shooting, is keep notes. I have a 5 subject notebook right here that I have set up. One of the subjects is for my 6mm, another one's for 30-06. I think I got one for 45, and I started this one for my 38-357 because my memory is not as good as it used to be, and I like to write down what it is I've done and why I did it and the results I get from it. Because a year from now, it doesn't even have to be that long, it could be a month from now or 5 years from now, if I decide to come back and go, well, that was a really good load, what was it? I can look in my book and read over my notes. They don't have to make sense to anybody else. Who cares about the spelling, terminology, grammar? That doesn't matter. As long as it makes sense to you and you can understand it later on, that's all that really matters. It's just a really good way to help you keep track of what it is you're doing. They've got load books out there which are laid out with all the information you want, powder, grains, bullets. It's already got tables and everything built into it. You can get one of them if you want, but for me, just a simple old notebook is all I really need. And somewhere around here I have, I can't find it right now, but I've got a 3-ring binder for when I'm shooting rifles. I print out my targets. I have certain targets I like, and I print them out on the computer, punch holes in them, and that way I can write down the weight bullet, the grain powder, the yardage, my group size, all that, and then I throw them in that 3-ring binder and with a date on it, so I can look at my book and see what it is I like, then go look at the other one and see the groups that I was shooting, or just browse through there and find a group I liked and say, okay, on this date I shot this group, and my powder, I can go back to my book here, flip through it, and reread my notes as to what it was I was doing. Long and short, keep notes and details. Unless I come up with something else, that's it for now.